Today is Monday, October 7th, and today I kind of just want to talk about and kind of think out loud. I just kind of want to think out loud because I think there are some insights in there that I want to pull out, but I don't have them formed into words, and I want to use this video to do that, and I think it'll help you guys realize the importance of goals and hopefully give you guys some motivation for your own goals, whether it be like a sport like me or something different. Okay, so basically what prompted me to want to talk about this is because I was working out today and I did an upper body workout and I just had a really big pump. Like I just felt very strong and I felt really big. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh wow, I actually look pretty big. Which is something that I don't really think about that often. And it just made me feel a lot more confident in myself and I just felt good, right? Because it's showing me that my work is paying off and I'm actually visually seeing results, like tangible results. I know I have been improving because I've been like going up in weight and that kind of thing, but it was nice to just see those visual results. I think that's why I like working out now, because before, like when I wasn't super consistent with it and it's kind of super on and off, I didn't like working out. I feel like everyone who starts working out doesn't like working out, obviously, because it's hard, right? You're literally like straining your muscles and you're doing that purposely, and the results are very slow and not super noticeable. So it's hard to be consistent with working out. I've been consistent pretty much all year, except I took like 2 months off during the summer. I don't know why I did that, but I've been pretty consistent. There's a few reasons for why I've been so consistent. First of all, I just enjoy it now. It's very satisfying to be able to, it feels good. Like it feels bad, but it feels good. Like after a workout and you're like showered and you just like feel really good and you feel very strong and it's just like, yeah, you feel good. And like when you're doing like a set to failure and you're doing that last rep, like it feels bad, but it feels good because you know you're pushing yourself and you know you're growing, you're like getting stronger. And the feeling of going up in weight on a certain exercise makes me so happy. Like it's such a good, like that is a literal example of me improving and me improving my strength and strengthening my abilities. I don't know, working out is kind of like the ultimate example of self-improvement. Like I'm pretty sure you can take pretty much any like main concept in self-improvement and apply it to working out, because working out is like the tangible version of self-improvement. Because if I am learning a skill and I improve at that skill, it's not, for some skills it is not as noticeable, but for working out, when you are improving your strength and improving your skill of strength, you know you are, because you can do another rep or you can move up in weight for a certain exercise. Like it is the ultimate example for self-improvement. And I think that's why I enjoy it so much now, because I'm realizing like I am improving myself, like my physical self, and it's like good for me, but also like it's been the one thing that I've been super consistent with that I know I'm getting better at. Thinking about like what I felt earlier, where I had like a really good pump and I just felt really strong, it made me think about how that is now like setting a new standard, setting a higher standard for myself of like, oh, I want to be in that position again. So it's like motivating me. And that's ultimately what goals should do. Your goals should motivate you. Your goals should be ambitious, but you should want your goals enough to motivate you to work on that thing. Because now I want to be in that position again, so I'm going to like work really hard even more so I can be in that position again. Yeah, so setting new standards, which is I guess just the same as setting new goals and improving on something and achieving a certain goal, and then moving the bar higher. Because eventually, for certain skills or things you're trying to improve at, it's kind of like a never-ending goal. it's a never-ending path of like, you complete this goal, okay, now we're going to move the goalpost, and then you need to complete this goal, and then now we're going to move the goalpost, and you need to complete that goal. Like, it's for some things like working out or some other skills, like there are skills where the goalpost is constantly being moved, but that kind of thing motivates me so much. Like, the idea that I am close to a goalpost, or maybe even far from a goalpost, but I'm like slowly working closer and closer to it, is just so motivating for me. The problem is, for things that are besides like working out, it is very hard to, first of all, just see your goalposts and know where you are in relation to those goalposts. So softball, for example, I am trying to just work really, really hard during the off season and in season of this past fall season, just work really, really hard. And then next season, I'll hopefully make the varsity team. That is my ultimate goal right now, to make the varsity team. So I'm just trying to work really, really hard to get there. But it's hard to know, like for things like that, it's hard to know where I am at. It's hard to know because like I don't know what the standards are. And I don't know what the standards is. I have no standards, so I'm kind of just doing my thing, doing my routine, but I don't really know where I'm at. So, I don't know. I guess this is just showing you and showing me the importance of goals and how important it is to have goals, or standards, if you'd like to call it that. Because if you don't have a goal, then you don't know where you are, and you're kind of just like, you don't know if what you're doing is actually helping you. And you're just like, you might not even be working on this thing that you want to work on. And if you are, then like you don't know like where you're at. If this is you and this is your goal, but you don't really know where the goal is, then you don't know if the goal is here or if the goal is over here. Like, you don't know where you're at. And it is really helpful to know where you're at, because if you know where your goal is, let's say for working out, I know my goal is to do 20 pull-ups nonstop. And I know I can do 10 pull-ups nonstop, then I know like how far away I am. And I know like what I need to be doing. I know how much more I need to be working to achieve that goal. So it's very important to have goals, because if you are trying to, like with any aspect in life, whether that be working out or a skill you're trying to learn, or just life in general, it is so good to have goals, especially if you're someone who's like trying to get their life together and trying to lock in or whatever. It is so important to set goals, because you can't lock in if you don't know like, what are you going to lock in with? Oh, I need to lock in with my school. You can't just like do that. You need to set goals, and you need to set standards, and you need to set systems in order to lock in or to achieve what you want to achieve or be who you want to be. So you need goals. So I'm going to try to lay out a sort of roadmap. I'm thinking as I'm talking, so I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try to lay out a roadmap for these people who want to get their life together and what kind of goals you need to be setting. So if you want to get your life together, then you need to get your life together is a very, very broad statement. So you need to understand like, what specifically do you want to fix, or do you want to add? So there's addition and there's subtraction in your life. And then there's maintenance. There's addition, subtraction, and maintenance. And you need to go through each of those buckets and figure out, okay, what do I need to add to my life that I know will help me lock in and help me live a better life? What do I need to subtract from my life that I know is distracting me and like inhibiting me from achieving what I want to achieve, or do what I want to do, or live what I want to live? And then what are the things that I need to be maintaining, the good things that I am doing right now that I need to be maintaining? And you need to slowly move the things that you add into the maintenance group. So let's go through each one of these buckets for getting your life together. So let's start with subtraction, because it is a little separated from the other two. Subtraction. Subtraction is removing something from your life. So for 99% of the people watching this video, I am assuming, including me, and like most of the world, or most of America at least, the biggest thing that we need to subtract is pretty obvious: our phone usage, right? So that is a very, very common thing that we need to subtract from our lives, our phone usage. So how can we subtract things? First of all, the first thing that I think you should do is to audit or evaluate where you are at. So we're trying to, the whole thing is about standards and goals, right? So within this certain remove phone from life, or remove or reduce phone usage, we have a certain standard that we need to figure out. So we need to be like, okay, what is our ideal screen time? Or what is our ideal, I would say for this example, screen time is your measurable. You need a measurable for each of these things you're trying to add or subtract. So you need a measurable. So our measurable in this case is your screen time. How much time are you spending on your phone every day? The average American screen time spent on your phone is 4 hours and 37 minutes, so around 5 hours. So let's say your screen time is 5 hours every single day. You spend 5 hours on your phone every single day. So that is our measurable, right? So if we're trying to remove this thing from our life, what is the standard? What is the goal that we are trying to get to? What is the goal we're trying to achieve? So let's say for me, when my screen time was like 4 hours, I wanted to bring it down to like 1 or 2 hours. So that you need to set your standard. You need to set your goal. Now, you can have, I'm not going to go in depth with this, but you can have like big goals and small goals, like long-term goals and short-term goals. I think those can be helpful sometimes. But for now, just set one large long-term goal, one ultimate goal. And then within that, you can set smaller incremental goals, which are ultimately going to become your tasks. So let's say our goal is to bring our screen time from 5 hours a day to 1 hour a day. Okay, so we're trying to subtract. So we have our measurable, we have our current standard, so where we're at right now, and we have our future standard, where we want to be at, which is 1 hour screen time. So how do we reduce our screen time from 5 hours to 1 hour? And this is where it gets very dependent on what kind of goal you are having and what kind of thing you're trying to remove from your life. I think subtracting things from your life, especially subtracting habits in your life, is arguably harder than adding things because you need to be self-aware. And I think that is the ultimate key to having like less screen time. You need to be self-aware and you need to realize that you are on your phone, because a lot of times you can just get sucked in and not even realize that you've been scrolling for 4 hours. So we need to be self-aware. So for this example, I think the biggest thing is to just be self-aware, but it is so hard to be self-aware. You can't just like be self-aware. So a few things that are helpful for this specific example of reducing screen time is to, number one, turn your phone to grayscale. So like grayscale, so like doesn't have color. That actually that helped reduce my screen time by like 50%. It was like a very dramatic increase. If you just keep it on grayscale and you never change it, you just keep it on grayscale, that is really helpful. So yeah, how do we subtract something from our life? And I think this just has to go back to the self-improvement productivity Bible, which is Atomic Habits. Very, very good book, and it can literally be applied to anything, including what I am talking about today. So, how he talks about removing bad habits, and when you are trying to get your life together and you're trying to remove bad things from your life, the biggest thing is to remove the cue. So, he talks about the habit cycle, which is cue, craving, response, reward, and if you utilize those according to whether you want to do the thing or you don't want to do the thing, then you can build or break down a habit. So when you're trying to subtract something from your life, something that has always helped me is to remove the cue. So why are you picking your phone up in the first place? Because you got a notification. Okay, so why did you get that notification? Did you actually need to see it? Probably not, so turn off your notifications. That is an example of removing the cue. Craving is, okay, once you looked at that notification, why did you have the sudden urge to go scrolling on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or whatever? Like, Why do you have that craving? Well, it's because you are feeling discomfort within doing the thing that you actually do want to do. So how can we make the thing that we need to do more rewarding? Response, I feel like, is part of being self-aware. So when you are scrolling, that is the response to the cue of like you picking up your phone and seeing YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and your response is to start scrolling. How can you change that response so that you stop scrolling? Well, you need to be self-aware. You need to stop scrolling. And then reward, it's rewarding to scroll because it is mindless, or it's overflowing our brain, but really it's mindless. We're not worried about anything. We're just like mindlessly scrolling, and it's distracting us from what we actually need to do. So utilize, to break down and build up bad habits, I'm sure I'm going to talk about this later, utilize the Atomic Habits book, because it is a really good book. It was super, super popular like a few years ago, so you've probably heard of it, but it's a really good book, and I encourage you to read it. I actually need to reread it. But yeah, that is the first thing. When you're trying to get your life together, you are adding things, you are subtracting things, and you are maintaining things. So the first one is subtracting things from your life, and utilize the habit cycle to subtract things from your life. And just look up, like I'm sure other people have had the same habit as you. Look up videos of there are so many videos on there about how to reduce your screen time, like so many. So research it a little bit, think about it a little bit. Think about okay, why am I doing this bad habit? What is wanting me to do this bad habit? How can I remove that satisfaction? Just think about it and try to remove the reward of doing that bad habit. So that is the first thing in getting your life together. Remove the bad habits. The next thing that I want to talk about is adding good habits and adding good things to your life. For example, exercising or working out or reading your Bible or having an hour of deep work on a project that you are currently building, that kind of thing. Adding good things to your life. Now, my solution for adding good things to your life, especially if there are things that take a considerable amount of time, like 15 minutes or more, put it on the calendar. As a side thing, if you want to get your life together, please, please, please start using a calendar and start time blocking, because that is genuinely the number one thing that has helped me with my time management, just time blocking. If you don't know what time blocking is, it's basically just blocking out every hour of your day or every however many minutes of your day. The thing about time blocking is that people think it's like, oh, I'm more of a flexible person, like I don't want to be so rigid, and that's completely fine, and it is almost impossible. I have never, well, that's not true. I've only 2 days out of however many months I've been time blocking, only 2 days have I actually made a schedule and did everything on that schedule, to a T. So it is completely fine to move things around and stuff, but at least in the morning or the night before, plan out at least what you want to do that day. So have maybe for my schedule, I have morning routine and then read my Bible, eat breakfast, and then start my school. I block out what subject I am doing for each hour or whatever, eat lunch, work out, do that kind of thing. So I highly, 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 highly encourage you to start time blocking, because it is really, really helpful, especially if you're in high school or something. Now, I'm homeschooled, by the way, so if you're wondering why I have it like that, I don't go to school, I just do school here, so that is besides the point. Start time blocking, because it is really helpful. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, when you are adding things to your life, if they take 15 minutes or longer to do, so let's say you want to start reading 30 minutes a day for every day, put it in the calendar. Put it in your little time blocking schedule. Because if you have a reminder on your phone or your computer or whatever for your schedule, then you will remember to do that. And if you want it bad enough, if you want to start reading bad enough, then you will do it. So that is I guess that's the number one thing that you can use for anything that you want to start adding to your life. Put it in the calendar. And that is for things that take time. Now, for things that don't take time, let's say a very, very small habit. Let's say that habit is meditating. You want to start meditating. One thing that I haven't really tried. Well, I've tried it a little bit, but I've mostly just heard it from other people. But that is to attach it to another habit that you already have. So let's say you want to start meditating for 5 minutes and you want to do that every day. Attach it to your morning routine. Attach it to right after you brush your teeth, or attach it to right before you start a deep work session. Attach your new habit to a previous habit. And this is something that is also talked about in Atomic Habits. So yeah, when you are adding something to your life, if it is a small thing, attach it to a habit you already have. If it is a larger thing that you want to, like an actual habit that you want to do every day or every week or whatever, put it in the calendar. And when you are trying to add something to your life that isn't necessarily a habit, but more of a skill or identity or goal, then again, put it in the calendar. So let's say my goal is to make the varsity team, right, for softball. And that is that's not attached to a timeline necessarily, like it kind of is, but it's like a big goal. But I'm still putting it in the calendar. I'm still putting work on my softball skills and work out in my calendar. So find the habits within those big goals that you need to be doing every day or every week or whatever, and add those to the calendar. There will always be a habit to do within a goal. So find that habit. And I also encourage you to find the smaller goals. So when you have this big ambitious goal, find the smaller goals that you can use as like little checkpoints so that you still feel like you're making progress. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we've gone over how to remove things from your life and how to add things from your life, and now we need to go over how to maintain the good things in your life, because this is not talked about at all. As far as I know, this is not talked about, and I feel like I have gotten pretty deep into like the self-improvement productivity space, and this is not talked about at all. Or maybe a little bit, but like very briefly. And that is maintaining what you do have. And this is more linked to like adding things that you have. Because if you have one perfect day where you weren't on your phone, you read for 30 minutes, you meditated, you worked out, you like did everything right, then that is one day. And sometimes those days when you fill your day full of these good things, it's just not sustainable. So you need to find a system for your life that makes these good things sustainable, because it is definitely possible to try to put all of these habits, all of like the meditate, read, journal. It's very easy to fill your calendar up with these pointless things. Well, they're not pointless, but fill it up unnecessarily. And you need to find a sustainable system for your life. Basically, you need to craft your 24 hours. I have talked about this a lot before, and I think it is something that I keep coming back to, and I keep thinking about almost every video, about crafting the perfect 24 hours and trying to just make the ideal day that you can execute on, that is sustainable too. So experiment with all these different habits, experiment with your schedule, maybe try working out in the morning the next day, and maybe try working out at night in the next day. Like, experiment with your day and just experiment with how you want your ideal 24 hours to look like, because you need to keep this sustainable. You can't just have one perfect day where you did everything right and then everything falls apart the next day. You need to keep it sustainable. So find a system for your life that works for you. So I feel like my system, my schedule is pretty solid right now, because I don't know, I feel like I'm improving a lot in the things that I want to be improving at, and I'm not unproductive. I would say I'm a productive person because I have crafted this 24 hours for where I'm at in my life right now. I'd say my system or my 24 hours is pretty solid. So just experiment with your day and try to create a good system, a good schedule for the 24 hours in front of you, and that can ultimately help you make it sustainable. I want to talk about what makes a day sustainable. I think what makes a day sustainable is rest. Because rest is so important. It is so important to rest your mind, rest your muscles, rest in general. It is so important to rest. And I think that is ultimately the the key to sustainability within your day and keeping a certain schedule sustainable, because I have tried putting things back to back to back to back, and it just doesn't work. And like, it's too tightly close together, and it's just like my brain is overflowing, and like it doesn't work. And rest, just putting breaks, like 5 to 10, I put 15-minute breaks in between each of the subjects that I'm doing each day, and in between most of the things that I do each day, and it has definitely helped a lot. Yes, those 15 minutes add up, but it is worth it to keep my day sustainable, and also to provide a little bit of cushion time so that I don't have to constantly be moving things around within my schedule. It is nice to have those little cushion blocks where I know I have a little extra time if I need to do this thing extra, or I need to start this thing earlier, that kind of thing. So I think the key to sustainability is rest and not putting things back to back to back. Some days you will just be so focused that you can put things back to back, and that is really good. But just make sure that you are incorporating rest into your schedule, and you're not filling your day chock full of these productivity habits, because ultimately the productivity habits are supposed to make you more productive, and if you're not actually doing the thing that you want to be more productive in, then there's no point. Okay, so I have talked for a long time. I really hope that this video was helpful. I've been wanting to make a video like this for a long time, just talking about how to get your life together, how to lock in, and I hope this was really helpful for you. To recap, I talked about how to add things to your life, how to subtract things from your life, and how to maintain things in your life. I'm going to make a template, a Notion template for you guys to help you add things, subtract things, and maintain the things in your life. So I'm going to make a Notion template. So I don't know if it will be out by the time I release this video. If it is, then it will be the first link in the description. If it is not out by the time I release this video, then please stay tuned for that. Subscribe so that you can know when I am able to put this template out, and so that you guys can use it, because I think for my ideas right now, I think it will be a very helpful and very useful template. It will be free, by the way, no charge to you. Another way to know when this template is going to come out is that I have a Gumroad store. If you don't know what that is, I basically just have an online store where I'm going to be putting like worksheets and templates and wallpapers and those kinds of things. So I will have that linked down below, my Gumroad store. So if you follow my account, then you will know when I release this Notion template for your ultimate get your life together system. So yeah, stay tuned for that if it has not come out yet, and if it has come out yet, then let me know if it is helpful for you, because I have worked really hard on it, and I'm excited for you guys to use it. So yeah, that is what I have to say today. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, then definitely click the like button, and let me know down below, like, what are you trying to work on in your life? Like, if you're trying to get your life together, what are the things you're trying to add? What are the things you're trying to subtract? And what are the things that you are trying to maintain? So comment down below. And yeah, if you want to see more videos just like these, then definitely subscribe, because I am posting every single day, daily insights talking about what I learned today and how I'm trying to implement it into my life, and how you guys can implement it into yours. So if you want to see those kinds of videos, then definitely subscribe. And if you subscribe, then I will see you tomorrow. Bye.